Und hier sind wir bei einer neuen Folge von The Outer Worlds. Ja, wir verlassen das Schiff nach Stellar Bay und nehmen mit den... Wir nehmen mal mit den Felix und... Ach, die Ellie, komm. Oder? Nee, dich und dich. Du hast nämlich eine neue Waffe. Genau. Oh. Stellar Bay erreicht. Ah, cool. Ja, du hast keinen Helm, ne? Das wundert mich. Warum hast du keinen Helm? Ich habe auch keinen Helm da, okay. Aber Punkte. Fernkampfschaden. Rüstungswert, Nahkampfschaden, Schaden gegen Feinde, die niederkauen. Was haben wir hier noch? Begleiter. Aha. Okay. Ja, wir nehmen mal das hier. Und bei Pravate nehmen wir... Ach, da haben wir den Fernkampfschaden schon. Komm, dann nehmen wir einmal Technik. Dann wirst du ein bisschen besser. Stellar Bay. Ja gut, ich laufe jetzt gerade irgendwie in den Kreis. Aha. Aha. Oh, das ist keine Treppe. Hello, Grim.
Hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right?
Was? Aber ich bin nicht zum Quatschen hier.
Wait. Don't go just yet. I've been practicing for this.
Ach so.
Here goes.
Okay.
On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records.
Ich bin Captain Nobby.
Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill.
Ist der aber wirklich so abgeschnitten?
We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago.
Das ist nicht, was ich auf Monarch erwartet habe.
Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly.
Did he just say raptidons and cannibals? I can't wait.
Willst du mir etwas sagen, davor schon hätte über diesen Ort gelogen?
Oh, sure. It makes Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell.
Ja.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though.
Ich werde mich mal umsehen.
Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor?
Das war ja klar. Was kommt denn? Was kommt?
I
Was kommt
got
davon?
this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in?
Ja, sicher. Wer ist Black Hole?
Boss, come on. Black Hole Birdie, the Hole Meister,
Ah,
the Hack Attack.
nein.
That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever.
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got to meet them.
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You've been living in a sulfur pit or something?
So ähnlich. Warum nennt man ihn Black Hole?
on account of him being the best hacker who ever played. Nothing gets by him. He sucks up every ball that comes his way.
Okay. Ja, genau. Vielleicht sollte das anders ausdrücken.
Well, Holcomb's had a lot of nicknames over his career. He used to be the tallywhacker on account of what he'd do to the score. Before that, he was the slick stick. The shots were always so smooth.
Stickst du doch aus.
I swear I'm not. At the start of his career, people called him the hack boss, but no one thought that was very catchy.
Dieses Poster klingt ziemlich wertvoll.
I couldn't really say, I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now.
Ich frag mal.
Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Okay, ein Haufen Verkaufsautomaten. Ich gehe erstmal hier nach hinten. Ich klaue nichts, weil auch hier sind Leute, die bedürftiger sind als ich.
Do you want to talk to the boss? She's in the back of the warehouse.
Ja, okay, alles klar.
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay could use some.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time
Was ist jetzt das hier?
a worker earns his meals.
Yachtclub.
What do you...
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace?
Du bist ganz schön dreist für einen Kerl, der absolut nichts tut.
What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. This law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted.
Du vermisst die guten alten Zeiten?
Days of consumption and culture. When we weren't squabbling with the iconoclasts for lack of better things to do. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Nö.
Well, we don't get many outsiders. Watch your step as you venture outside the walls.
Ich schaue mich schnell mal hier um. Aber hier scheint noch nichts zu sein.
Got any news from...
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Nee, klauen tue ich nicht. Roboladerbediener. Philip Harris, okay. Und das ist Robol... Wer bist du?
New face, huh? You from Offworld?
Jo. Captain Nobby von der Reliable.
A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
Was feiert ihr denn?
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits.
Okay.
But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking.
Streiken. Bringe ich das nicht in Schwierigkeiten?
I don't see how. When Sanjar took over MSI, he tossed all the old corporate rules. We ain't required no more to work whatever job the company demands.
Okay, alles klar.
Our supervisor Velma goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch. We're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay.
Mit Verhandeln kenne ich mich aus. Echt?
I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel, but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands.
Na klar.
You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view.
Wer bist du? Ach nein. Ach doch nicht. Ich gedacht, da war noch einer mit Namen. Nee, doch nicht. Maguire.
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger.
Danke.
Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you?
Warum heißt der Ort The Yacht Club?
Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all.
Gibt es Yachten in Stellar Bay?
Nope. But a man can dream.
Du hast gesagt, ihr bekommt hier nicht auch Besucher zu Gesicht.
Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such.
Wie gut kennst du Nyoka?
Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
Lass mal handeln und verkaufen. Wie viel Geld habe ich jetzt? 2300 nur, wow. Guck, das brauche ich alles nicht. Also natürlich, das könnte man alles einsetzen. Hier Geschicklichkeit. Achso, nee, das ist wirklich doof. Persönlichkeitsattribute, das ist gut. Hier, das wäre auch gut. Aber ich komme eigentlich so gut mit meinem Zeug aus, was ich gerade habe. Die Mods müsste ich mal einsetzen. Da habe ich einen Haufen da. Kapazität. Das ist genetisch. Oh, da müsste ich wirklich mal wieder. Das ist Schrott. Guck, und schon sind wir bei 31 nur noch und haben, sage und schreibe, wieder jetzt 2000 plus gemacht. Hätte er... Nee, er hätte nichts zu kaufen. Okay, gut, Rückkauf will ich nicht. Dann Nyoka.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud.
Hallo.
Don't interrupt, it's rude.
Ja, das interessiert mich aber jetzt
But I
nicht.
gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here.
Mhm.
Who are you?
Ich bin Nobby. Schön, dich kennenzulernen.
Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you?
Noch eine Runde, ja, klar.
Outstanding. What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger?
Man hat mir gesagt, du könntest mir helfen, einen Informationshändler zu finden.
Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head.
Okay. Was brauchst du?
Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings?
Yeah.
Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set.
Meinst du Kaffeinoid? Das Zeug ist nur ein Stimulanz.
Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Ich komme wieder. Okay, na gut. Dann ging jetzt das da auch recht schnell. Da hinten waren wir schon. Okay, die Stadt ist groß.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Nein.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Ja, das scheint das Hauptgebäude. Nee, ich gehe jetzt mal hier lang. So, was ist denn hier? Monarch Stella.
You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out, she's in a mood.
Okay. Das sind irgendwo Arbeiter. Velma ist da. Cool. Okay, man kann nicht runterspringen, alles klar. Wirklich nicht? Nein, wirklich nicht. Gut, hier werden nur Sachen zum Klauen. Klauen will ich nicht. Arbeiter und eine Werkbank. Dann schauen wir uns erstmal nochmal. Moment, das war jetzt hier gar nicht das, was ich erwartet habe. Okay, genau hier. Genau, dann haben wir hier den Verkaufsautomaten. Hier ist die Küche plus Aufenthaltsraum. Hier geht es dann dahin. Und da geht es hier hin. Ja, nochmal einen Ausgang. Gut. Und einmal oben haben wir. Oh, Fisch. Scheint ein Büro zu sein. Persönliche Datei. Zufällig auf die Tasten hämmern. Zufällig auf die Tasten hämmern. Zufällig auf die Tasten hämmern. Okay, funktioniert nicht. Zufällig auf die Tasten hämmern. Okay, ich hätte gedacht, da kommt irgendwas Lustiges jetzt. Nachrichten. An Hecht. Braxton, die Fische in Tank 23a sehen ein wenig ungesund aus. Es ist in Ordnung, wenn du es nicht zur Arbeit schaffst, aber du musst es mir sagen, damit ich die Dosierung im Blick behalten kann. Velma. Dann, guten Tag, wir müssen wirklich über die Saltuna-Situation sprechen. Ich muss in den letzten 2 Monaten viele Lieferungen im Lager verkommen lassen, weil wir keine Käufer finden konnten. Ich verstehe, dass uns die Sache mit dem Vorstand zu schaffen macht, aber wir müssen uns überlegen, wie wir Stella Bay am Laufen halten, wenn die Verkaufszahlen nicht steigen. Brax, im Ernst, wo bist du? Du hast 3 Schichten verpasst. Selbst für dich wird das langsam lächerlich. Wie? Finanzielle Probleme, wirtschaftliche Probleme.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry.
Ja. Was? Immer mit durch, 10 Minuten.
Well, if you're that friendly about it, then you definitely aren't one of Catherine's sublight toughs. My mistake. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing.
Reden wir über Caleb.
Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say.
Wieso? Die verrichtet doch harte Arbeit, oder? Haben Sie dafür nicht eine entsprechende Entlohnung verdient?
Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
Okay, da hat sie irgendwie
I'll
recht.
wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much.
Caleb meint, er brauchte eine Gehaltserhöhung, um sich sein Leben hier weiterhin leisten zu können. Das ist aber auch nicht doof.
Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire Sublight contractors at this rate.
Schade, dass ich das nicht kann. Ein kleines Wind bekommen. Die werden dich dafür verantwortlich machen. Da kannst du Caleb auf halbem Weg entgegenkommen.
For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life.
Irgendwer wird letztendlich von den fehlenden Kleinbeträgen Wind bekommen. Die werden dich dafür verantwortlich machen.
Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home. Near the diner.
You'd steal from your own people? That's low, ma'am.
That's business. Someone's got to keep the lights on.
Ja.
Fine by me.
Jetzt fangen wir von deinem verschwundenen Mitarbeiter.
Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess.
Habt ihr nicht irgendwelche Regeln?
We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit.
These MSI types are living the dream.
Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments.
Okay.
Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind?
Du erwähnst, dass Braxton Arzneimittel gestohlen hat.
Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts.
So hast du nicht verpfiffen.
We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat and mostly tumor-free.
Wer ist diese Catherine, die du erwähnt hast, als ich reingekommen bin?
Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 spacer.
Okay. Dann, gehen wir mal.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
Okay, dann gehe ich jetzt aber erstmal wirklich da rein, weil haben wir nämlich hier das Gebäude auch durch. Monarch, hallo!
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others.
Hey!
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Worum ging es in dem Gespräch gerade? Hast du Geldprobleme? Wow. Grimm hat mich gebeten, dich nach seinem Wurfballposter zu fragen.
You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse.
Da war ich doch gerade.
But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Vorhin habe ich dich etwas von Geldproblemen erwähnen hören.
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again?
Was?
Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Ist es normal für dich, dein Geld für Raptidon-Teile auszugeben?
Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or a mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
Weil? Warum kaufst du so viel von diesem Sebastian?
so I can talk to him, of
Oh
course.
Gott, okay.
He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
Bist ein Schnellchecker, ne?
Sort of the strong, silent type.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff.
Oh Gott.
And some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Vielleicht kann ich für dich mit ihm reden.
Would you? I'd
Natürlich, ich
appreciate
mache
that
alles
so
hier.
much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask. Just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose really slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Halt, ich bin neugierig. Was findest du an Sebastian?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs.
Mhm.
It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Mhm. Andere Mütter haben auch schöne Söhne, Celia.
Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like Saltuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up.
Okay. Möchtest du wirklich mit jemandem zusammen sein, mit dem du nicht reden kannst?
You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny.
Okay, dann hab ich keine weiteren
Sorry,
Fragen.
sometimes I get carried away.
Okay, ciao. So, Mr. Nandi.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
Nee. Du hast ein Meeting mit mir.
Did you hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake.
Doch.
Now, what business brings you here?
Ich suche eigentlich nur einen Informationshändler.
Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna.
Nein. Ich fürchte nicht.
Oh, a shame. I'd been saving a bottle of iceberg-aged whiskey for an occasion like this.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments.
Was?
I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
Was genau hoffst du zu erreichen?
Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Und du hast einfach genug vom Schnoddern zusammenkratzen, ja?
Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal, but a rather costly paramour.
Can't imagine why you'd sneer at the notion of a free colony. Could it be because you're an agent of the establishment?
I used to be young and idealistic too, but you can't run a city on high-minded ideals.
Das stimmt auch wieder, ne? Ja, das stimmt jetzt.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Are you out of your mind? You can't just go crawling back to your old masters.
Well, we can't continue to subsist like this either.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
Die Lady weiß, wie der Hase läuft.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
Willst du das anstellen?
With a Bolt 52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Was ist das eigentlich, das Bolt 52?
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
I was starting to get bored listening to you, till you said the phrase, extremely powerful ordnance.
It is quite the rush.
Wo kann ich denn eins finden?
In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. These days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons.
Dann hol ich mal so eins Bolt.
I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Nachdem ich es gelesen habe. Weiß ich nicht. Habe ich noch Fragen? MSI?
It's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
Wieso wurde MSI überhaupt aus dem Vorstand geworfen?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
Eile mit Weile.
You see what I have to deal with?
For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1.
Was? Was ist mit den anderen Konzernen passiert?
As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
Aber nicht MSI, was?
Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
Wie progressiv von euch.
It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Word of advice, Sanjar. If Parvati's got something to say, you do well to listen close.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
Den Vorstand mit seinen eigenen Mitteln zu schlagen. Clever.
That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else.
Und du hast die Abfahrt verpasst.
Many of us chose to stay behind. And as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
Wieso haben sie das getan?
I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws.
Your first mistake was expecting the board to cut you a fair deal.
I understand the sentiment, but if we can't rely on some sort of framework, then what do we have? I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
Was ist die Gefahrenklausel?
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
Sounds like the board gave themselves the power to arrest an entire planet.
They would say it's for the greater good.
Und das hat man auf Monarch angewandt?
Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way.
Wieso willst du zurück in den Vorstand?
Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, and once you go back to him, he'll own your dignity too.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation.
Die haben dich nicht mit Samthandschuhen angefasst. Ist es das wert, zurückzukehren?
I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Druckmittel?
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes. It'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52.
Okay.
My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations.
Lass uns über was anderes reden.
Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
Oh, das haben wir schon,
What can I
okay.
do for you?
Ich habe Grimm die Wache vom Landeplatz getroffen.
I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff?
Ja, Glanzleistung.
Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you?
Nichts. Uiuiui, ein langes Gespräch. Ich bin hier reingekommen und gehe jetzt mal hier hin. Ah, hier geht's raus, okay, alles klar. Und dann gehe ich hier rein. Ein Manager.
If you leave town, watch out for iconoclasts.
Ja, okay, alles klar.
They're almost as bad as the rats.
Noch ein Manager. Dein Bericht sieht ausgezeichnet aus. Die Zahlen werden gut dargestellt, inklusive unserer neuesten Produktionszuwächse. Eine kleine Änderung bitte. Änderung bitte. Könntest du wohl die Seitenränder um 17,3% vergrößern? Zur optimalen Lesbarkeit sollte sich an unseren anderen Bericht angepasst werden. Oh, der ist ein bisschen penibel, ha? Oh, was ist das? Otto, ich habe deinen Zeitplan überprüft und du hast mir wirklich etwas Freizeit verdient. Nimm dir doch ein paar Tage frei. Du startest wirklich so lange auf dieses Terminal. Sanja. Okay. Das ist wieder cool. Daten ansehen. Eine Zusammenfassung der Bedingungen in Stellar Bay. Die Produktivität ist seit der Abschwächung der alten MSI-Reglementierungen und Zugeständnisse an der Mitarbeiter, wie beispielsweise Krankheits- und Urlaubstage, Reduzierung der Schichtlänge um 24,9% und 52,3% mehr positives Feedback weiter angestiegen. Die Fischereiproduktion hat sich dieses Jahr um 15,2% erhöht und setzt diesen Trend weiterhin fort. Das verringerte Wachstum im Vergleich zu den letzten Jahren ist wahrscheinlich auf mehrere Faktoren zurückzuführen. Verschleiß und Verringerung der Arbeitsmodale, zwischenzeitliche Versorgungsausfälle und Verlust der Arbeiter an Plünderer 7,2%, Wildtiere 10,3% und Rekrutierung durch die Ikonoklasten 17,4%. Als Langzeitziel gilt weiterhin die Versöhnung mit dem Vorstand. Aktuell hat jedoch die Verteidigung der Stadt Vorrang. Die Temperatur der Beschädigungen an den Stadtmauern verschlingt schätzungsweise 32,8% des jährlichen Budgets. Die beste Lösung hierfür wäre eine deutlich erhöhte Zahl der Verteidiger und Waffenanlagen, was sich aufgrund der vorgenannten Faktoren und deren Auswirkungen auf die Einwohnerzahl unwahrscheinlich scheint. Arbeitsslogans. MSI. Unsere Gewinnmargen sind stellar. MSS Altuna 43,28% nahrhafter als die führenden Marken. Stellar Bay, ein erträgliches Wirtschaftszentrum in einer feindseligen und chaotischen Galaxie. Gut, okay, alles klar, cool. Dann gehen wir hier raus. Warum ist da oben ein Loch und warum kann ich von hier aus nicht rein? Vielleicht über... Oh Gott. Das Dach. Genau, hier gehe ich jetzt noch ganz fix hin. Mit dir rede ich nochmal, weil wir über das Bild nochmal reden müssen, über das Poster.
I'd give you a friendlier welcome.
Ja.
Gosh, this old girl's in a rough way.
Ja.
Hey.
Das Poster?
This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it?
Wer ist Nell?
She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too.
Es geht also nur um Geld.
Damn right it is.
Du hast das Poster aber noch, oder?
It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money.
Du gibst den Poster einfach jemand anderen? Hat er nicht schon dafür bezahlt?
No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money.
Okay. Wir können uns doch sicher einigen.
Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering.
Ich helfe dir doch, Braxton zu finden, oder? Ist das nichts wert?
Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster.
Okay.
Fine by me.
Oh, warte mal. Ach so.
Sure.
Ja gut, ich könnte zahlen. Ach nee, nö. Ich gebe dir auch für die Zeit, die Grimm dich gekostet hat. Aber es soll natürlich noch was für das Poster.
Fine by me.
Ist diese Stadt groß, ne? Ah, gut, es geht. Hier ist nichts. Hier sind 2 Bewohner. Hier ist ein Terminal. Wow. Angestellten-Login. Neuen Account anlegen. Oh. Okay. Das geht nicht. Alles klar. Ach, hier ist das Tossball-Betting. Hier ist der Oh, ne, der Constable funktioniert nicht. Ah, okay. Was ist hier? Ein Labor, was überraschenderweise komplett leer ist. Okay, das wundert mich. Dann gehen wir jetzt zum Wettbüro als nächstes. In der nächsten Folge. Danke fürs Zuschauen und bis dann.